San Jacinto Student of the Month Breakfast. My name is Karina Zermino. I sit on the Student of the Month Committee, and I'm here this morning as well representing Altura Credit Union. The purpose of this program is to recognize and honor students for their character, love of learning, commitment to academics, in addition to their involvement in school and community activities, and or their ability to overcome difficult life circumstances. And we do this and honor them in a setting, and they honor their commitments in a setting that honors God, our country, family, community, and free enterprise. We want to call up our first high school, and that would be Alessandro High School. Our principal, Tara O'Malley, student Dustin Hubbardy, and guest to please come up to the podium. Thank you.
Hey, good morning, everyone. I'm Tara O'Malley, principal at Alessandro High School. And before we have an opportunity to hear from this amazing student representative, I want to take the time to thank all of you. I know we've been saying that all morning. Thank you for contributing to this. But this event has such a huge impact on our school campus, and I know it does. It affects all school campuses. It's so nice to be able to recognize students because, not just because of academic achievement, but for overcoming adversity. And so when Alessandro had an opportunity to select another student for this month, I was so happy when Dustin's name was announced, and he's somebody that we talk about quite fondly for everything he's accomplished. I met Dustin in the fall of 2016. He was a junior, came to Alessandro, and I looked at his transcript. I'm like, something's missing here. I don't see anything on your transcript. There's no 9th grade, no 10th grade. What's going on here? And he had just moved from Colorado, not Arizona. Background was lot of issues. I was like, oh my gosh, how are you breathing? Because everything that he's dealing with. And he moved in with his grandmother, and the next thing you know, he focused on one day at a time. And he qualifies for a high school diploma that requires only 130 credits, and he is not settling for that. He is now 48 credits from graduating. So he is going to complete his high school diploma in less than 2 years. I've never seen anybody come to our school with a blank transcript, and to be able to overcome everything. And so talking about Dustin's academic achievement is amazing, but his attitude, and his personality, that's what really shines for me. So Dustin, you have done so much, not only for Alessandro, but you are such an inspiration. You're one of those students I will never in my life ever forget. So thank you for touching my heart and giving us the honor to attend our school. The teacher that nominated Dustin is Frances Garrison, so let's hear from Frances.
Good morning. I feel really lucky to have the opportunity to be here to talk about Dustin. Dustin is the kind of student who makes a conscious choice every day to choose positivity over negativity. And as our principal, Miss O'Malley, said, the kid had 0 credits on his transcript when he came to me. And he just is so laser focused and looking ahead that I have nothing but respect for him. Plus, he has more than once adjusted my attitude in the morning, so for that, your fellow students probably thank you also. And he's even taught me how to play a few chords on the ukulele, so, he's a multifaceted person here, but like I said, Dustin, I have a lot of respect for what you've accomplished, and I am excited to see you graduate.
All right, you're up.
Hello, my name is Dustin Huberty, and I'd like to introduce my grandmother, Lana Huberty, and my teacher, Frances Garrison. Now, one of the many things that I brought to my school, family, and community is positivity and determination. With a positive attitude, I've been able to bring many people together from all different types of groups and have them connect on different levels, whether it be through music or other school activities. And one of the biggest lessons I've learned through this is that without determination and an optimistic outlook, you cannot get very far in life. I'm sorry, guys. Now, it's just so emotional for me right now, I'm sorry. This is the first time I've ever been nominated for anything. Now, that shows how much I've changed, because all through my years, I never liked school. I never attended. And however, the death of my father in the summer of 2016 was a big eye-opener for me. It opened my eyes to the world. Instead of letting that bring me down, I channeled that emotion into academics. Now I'm almost graduated, and it's hard to believe that I came here and I had 0 credits when I started Alessandro last year. And not only that, I'm first in my class due to my hard work and dedication. And after I graduate, I plan on attending MSJC for my associate's degree in business to pursue my dream of having my own construction company. And I would like to give a big thanks to all the sponsors. Thank you. I really appreciated it.
Okay. All right. Thank you, and it is our honor to introduce the next school, Hamilton High School, and Dr. Natalie Riddell to honor her student. Thank you.
I'm here to represent Hamilton High School this morning and our Student of the Month, Hiron Wu. And we're excited for her and all her accomplishments. I met her the first few days there at Hamilton, and she was in the back of a class in her physics class. She was a TA, but I was going up and I was talking to her about her plans. And just watching her on campus and her quiet leadership, and it's just exciting, and I'm very proud of her and her accomplishments. So I'm going to hand it over to the teacher who nominated her, Mrs. Halstead.
Thank you. I want to thank all the sponsors and everybody for making this opportunity possible. Hiron is an amazing student. When you talk about adversity and academic achievement, Hiron was the first one that I thought of. She came to the United States when she was 8 years old, and so 10 years, and you wouldn't even know that she wasn't born here, and she is just an amazing student. She's dedicated, she's hardworking. I hold 6-period tutoring, and she comes very regularly, not to get extra help, but to make sure that all of her friends get the help that they need. And she's very sweet and very smart and painfully shy. I do apologize for making you speak to all these people. But she deserves this, and thank you so much. Erin?
Good morning, everyone. My name is Hiron Yu, and she's my mom, and she's my piano teacher. And I am very honored to be nominated as a Student of the Month by my math teacher, Ms. Halstead. As you can tell, I was not born here in America. I was born in South Korea, not North, but came to California in 2007 when I was only 8. I am a very timid person, so I had a really hard time adjusting to new living situations. Learning new language was very hard for me, probably for most of us, because both my parents did not know and still does not know how to speak English. Therefore, it was really hard for me to learn new language. It has been many years since I moved to US, but I still have a hard time writing, speaking, and understanding English. When I first came to Hamilton, I only had one friend from middle school, but she was not the right person to hang out. Also, because I am a very timid person, I could not approach to people to make new friends, and I always felt like people were looking at me and talking bad about me because I was Asian. However, now I have such a wonderful friends, Alyssa, Caitlin, Vanessa, and Sam. I became more confident in what I am and what I'm going for. I really thank them that they are my friends. Also, thanks for Ms. Halstead for giving me opportunities to prepare for colleges and to share my story today. Lastly, I just want to say thank you to Mr. Farkas for being such an amazing principal of my elementary, middle school, and high school year. And thank you for inspiring me to become a good student. Thank you.
So thank you, and we're going to introduce the next school, which is Hemet High, and Dr. Emily Shaw.
Good morning. I'd like to thank the dignitaries and everybody who organized this event. It's an amazing opportunity to be able to recognize our students. And with about 540 seniors, it's always tough to choose the only 7 that we get to pick throughout the year. But Colby stands out. Mr. Muscade has nominated Colby every month. And Colby stands out as a remarkable young man. I've known Colby since he was in 4th grade, so about 10 years, when he was the student at Val Vista Elementary School. So I've got to watch him mature from a squirrely young kid to an amazing young man. Colby's a member of our agriculture welding program. And for those of you who know anything about welding, we have a machine called a plasma cutter. And it's a huge table that's been basically just this really expensive paperweight in the back of the classroom because nobody really knew how to use it. Our welding teacher left and it wasn't exactly put together in the right way, so it didn't work. So we had the software for it, we had all the equipment for it, but it just didn't work. And Colby took it upon himself this year to take it apart and rebuild it. And Mr. Mosqueda said, I don't want to get your hopes up, but I think we may be able to get that machine working. He said, but I don't want to get your hopes up. And then a couple of weeks later, he came and said, why don't you come check my room? And Colby's in there on the plasma cutter making these things, and the next thing I know, I get this big bulldog head that says Dr. Shaw, and it's like 2-dimensional, 3-dimensional with the head popping out, and it's all cut out. And then my APs are saying, well, how come you get one and I don't get one? I said, because I'm the boss. But now everybody has one, so everybody's happy. But Colby did get the machine working, and it's up and running. And so you walk into the classroom, and everybody has these really cool FFA signs, which is Future Farmers of America, for those who don't know what FFA stands for. So Colby got this paperweight up and running, and it's a very functional machine, and we're taking significant advantage of it. So it's pretty exciting to have that. But beyond that, and Colby will tell you a little bit more, he had a pretty catastrophic accident last year that could have changed the course and probably would have changed the course for a lot of students and given him a reason to give up and hate school, kind of just hunker down. But he didn't. Mom texted me and said, can we put him on independent study? What can we do? And Colby didn't want that. Colby wanted to stay at school with his big gruesome owie and the Band-Aids. And he's persevered through that adversity, and he's come out stronger for it, I think. So he'll share more about that with you later. I don't want to steal his thunder. But Mr. Mosqueda is going to tell you why he nominated him. So again, thank you to all the dignitaries for making the opportunity to recognize Colby today possible. Thank you.
Good morning. Once again, thank you for the sponsors, board members from both areas for sponsoring and honoring students every month. As Dr. Shaw stated, Colby, he wasn't in our program for a very long time. He first entered my intro class when we first started. A couple of weeks later, he came up and asked me if there's a possibility he can move up. And at first, I was like, well, come back one day after school and show me the skills that you have and see if, you can move up. Surely enough, he kind of blew me away. And I never really noticed his injury on his hand until later. But so we moved him into Ag Mechanics 2, and he just pretty much was itching to do some great things. He looked at the plasma chem once I told him we had a CNC machine, and he's like, can I work on it? I was like, sure, go ahead. Being an ag teacher, we are so busy constantly, we barely have any time for ourselves. So this was a great opportunity for both of us to learn and a student to teach, the teacher. So he started tinkering around, and in about less than a week, he got that thing running. I was like, wow. So he started making stuff. He started working on things. On top of that, he was working on other projects for his side business that he has, just to kind of develop the skills. And I was amazed of the talent that he has. And it wasn't until later on that I kind of noticed one day when he was working, I looked at his hands and I was like, wow. So I didn't really say anything. I thought to myself, I actually talked with Riley, one of the other students that he's good friends with. And I was like, what happened to Colby's hands? Well, do you remember the student last February that got in an injury? And I was like, oh, that was him. So I was like, at that moment, I was amazed of his skills and the level that he pretty much put himself through, and did not let, and his injury did not stop him from excelling and basically succeeding in what he wants to do. So that really impressed me. That took a lot of guts, and he just goes on like a normal day. So he does inspire other students, gives them the courage to say, hey, don't give up on something just because something happens to you. And so that's one of the reasons I'm glad he came into our program. I'm blessed of his knowledge in the welding industry, and I hope that he does awesome. And I know he's going to do awesome later in life. So I'm going to go ahead and let Colby tell his story.
My name's Colby Wemple. This is my mom and my nominating teacher, Mr. Mosqueda. During February of 2016, I was involved in a pretty major off-road racing accident that caused me to lose over half of my hand. It was definitely one of the biggest challenges I had to face during that time. It was pretty hard during high school. I had to take a few months off due to have to go to doctors and all that sort of stuff. But during that time, I kind of pulled together because I've always had a niche for entrepreneurship. And since 7th grade, I've always when I got my first bank account, I was always trying to find some way to make money. And then during my accident time, I started my own business. Dealing in the off-road industry, I came together with a few people and started my own online store. It's grown pretty big this year, and I'm hoping we can definitely push for it to become something bigger. And for my colleges that I'm applying to, I want to kind of go into the business side because my niche for business. I applied to Cal Poly Pomona, Fullerton, San Marcos, and San Bernardino. And yeah, it's hard, it's shy. Also, one more thing that I think is a pretty big accomplishment for me is I designed and completely built my own race car for this year. It's a professional UTV, and I'm going to win a professional championship this year. That's kind of the hopes and goals this year. So thank you. And
for those of you who have kids, the house gets quiet, you walk around, and then you start to wonder, where'd your kid go? That happened at 3 years old, and I finally found him in the garage. He decided to get a ladder, take it over the workbench, and proceed to take the VCR apart. So I knew at that point that I was in trouble. By the time he was 7 years old, the Christmas list wasn't toys. It was, I need a jigsaw, I need a skill saw, I need a hammer, how about a table saw? I knew I was definitely in trouble at that point, because by the time he was 9 years old, we had a 10-foot tall skate ramp in the backyard, fully built. So the list goes on and on for the amount of wood we bought, the amount of structural materials we bought. And then all of a sudden it was, hey Mom, I want to race. Oh Lord, here we go again. So got a race car for him. He now does UTV racing. He did have the accident, and I am just amazed at the willpower this kid has. He has overcome going to school with necrotic fingers, changing his own bandages, doing his own therapy. And, when the kid puts on his Instagram, hey, I've got my own emoji, you start to think that he's going to be okay. But we had a little bit of, times where it was, good and bad, but he did persevere. And he is a very, very special kid. So he did come in and say, hey, guess what I did today? I can only imagine. We took apart the plasma cutter at school. Oh, Lord. He comes back a couple days later. I think we got it fixed. So then all of a sudden I see random things popping up on his Instagram. Hey, we made this. Hey, we did this. He did a bit of racing. Comes to me a few weeks ago and says, hey, I need about $300. Well, for what? What are we going to do? I need raw materials so I can tear apart my race car. Excuse me? We're going to do what? So he proceeds to tell me that it's already dismantled in his dad's garage. All the bolts are spread all over the place. He takes it down to the ag mechanic shop, cuts it apart, puts it back together, and I am just absolutely amazed at what he has done so far. His skill set is absolutely amazing. His outlook on life is absolutely amazing. And I absolutely love this kid to death.
They changed the order on us this year, or this week, this month, sorry. I'm kind of in Karina's not 100% feeling well phase. Now I'd like to introduce Mr. Swanson with Mountain View High School. Thank you.
All right, good morning, good morning. Thank you for having us back. Mountain View, Mountain Heights, San Jacinto Adult Education. We're representing Mountain Heights Academy today. And to tell you more about our lovely young lady to my right, Miss Ebony Rogers is her teacher, Mrs. Wilson. So we're going to get the show on the road, Mrs. Wilson.
Thank you. As a teacher, there's no greater joy than watching a student who has felt that they weren't meeting people's expectations, or they weren't even meeting their own, and at the point of wanting to give up, and then suddenly realize that from within themselves they have the empowerment to do something about it. That's Ebony. She has worked very hard this year. At the beginning of the year, I didn't have a sense from her that she thought she would graduate, and literally she will be graduating in just a few weeks. But it's more than just that. She has blossomed, and she's kind of come out of her shell. I think she finally decided Indiana isn't the only place to live. She had moved here from Indiana, and I'll never forget, a few weeks ago she said, "I won't have a white Christmas." But we had a nice warm Christmas instead. But she's worked really, really hard towards the graduation process. But even more than that, she has started projecting her goals for the future. And she's got some really great ideas of where she wants to go and what she wants to do. And what impressed me most about it is that she says, "I want to help other people." And I think that's just an admirable thing in a student at her age, to already realize that there are people out there that need our help, you know, and the next generation will be doing it too. So with that, I'd like to introduce you to Ebony Rogers.
Hi. I would like to start off by saying this is my mom, my beautiful mother, and I can't look at you. And this is my teacher, Miss Wilson. Growing up, the youngest out of 3 amazing, successful, just amazing siblings of either in sports or choir. It didn't really matter. My siblings can excel at anything they put their mind to. So growing up, I had a lot, big shoes, not just big shoes, but I had 2, 3, 4, 5 shoes to fill and to exceed and to surpass their goals and everything. And it was very daunting, understandably so. And so I took the easy way out and I didn't try. I felt that if I couldn't be the best at something, then I was going to be the worst at it. And it wasn't if I wasn't the best at something, and if I did surprise myself and succeed, it wouldn't be because I tried or that I was good enough. It would be because of luck, and it would be because of someone else's generosity. It would never be because I did what I was supposed to do. And so understandably so, that would just be very destructive in my life. Not just academically, but I would apply this in everywhere in my life. To just give up before you tried. Because I felt that if I gave up on my own terms, then it wouldn't really be failing. I didn't give them what I was supposed to give, so it didn't hurt as much if I failed, because it would be on my own terms. And so, recently, I started to try again, not for any particular reason, but because it gets old very quick to not just disappoint your family, your parents, your siblings, but to disappoint myself most of all. And that's something that it took me a very long time to understand, that it did hurt me when I didn't amount to my full potential. So it was very surprising when I got Student of the Month for doing just what I felt people are supposed to do. And so originally I didn't want to come here and was thinking in my head all the things of getting out of coming here for. But ultimately coming to the realization that I deserve to be here because I earned it and I worked hard for it. And it's not because of luck. It's because I tried. And I put my all for the first time in my life into something. And to see it pay off, it means a lot. So I would like to thank the sponsors for giving me and my mom the opportunity to come here to tell my story and to tell my side and to just be very grateful for this opportunity. So that's all.
This is really, really beautiful. We've been in California for 7 months. This time last year, we was getting over the loss of my husband on New Year's Eve, who died unexpectedly. So I know he's here with us. It's just, it's beautiful to see Ebony persevere through it all. You know, her dad won't be there to see physically, to see all of these accomplishments. And just to do it in a supportive community is really, and faith-based. You know, you can't do it without God. We wouldn't have made it this far. So I appreciate you all and thank you so much.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to give you a little update on Jaime, just in case you were wondering what happened to Jaime since we met in December. He's at Mount San Jacinto Community College right now, so thank you, Mount San Jacinto, for being there for our kids. And I'd like to welcome up the fabulous principal of San Jacinto High School, Professor Luke Smith. Come on down.
We're very proud to introduce to you our Student of the Month, Jesse Sepulveda. He is an amazing spark of positivity on our campus. And when his nomination came through at first, I'm like, that is who I want as our January Student of the Month. He'll tell you about his story and background, but on the surface, and again, we often kind of look at students on the surface. If you're only looking at a transcript or you're only looking at their grades, and even on the surface, Jesse's just shines. He's been part of our Project Lead the Way biomedical sciences pathway for 4 years. He has a passion for the medical field. He has a passion for his grades. He's excelled in advanced placement classes and pushes himself academically. And then also as an athlete as well, and he's brought his track coach, Mr. Quintero, who also teaches math at our high school, as his guest. And Jesse is just that student who you're very proud to have walking your halls of your campus. You're very proud to see him in the quad because that's the exact representation of what a student at San Jacinto High School is, what they represent to the community, and we're just very proud to have Jesse here with us today. And I'm going to have Mr. Quintero speak more to that.
Test, test. All right. So I've actually known Jess for about 4 years now, which from a teaching perspective is pretty unique. You know, usually you get a kid 1 year and that's it, and then they're gone. But I had him in math in 2014, kind of a long time ago now. But because of the sports relationship, I've gotten to see him for all of the last 4 years, and that really lets you see a student's transformation from the freshman that was about this tall that's scared to answer the questions, you know, put the graph on the board, to the person at track practice who is now leading the group of 170-something kids whenever we have to do stretches or warm-ups or anything like that. You know, he's the one that's out there. This is what we're doing, guys. This is what we need to do today. And that's, I mean, twice as many people as this room and no microphone either, so you got to yell at all of them too. But he's, sorry, the foot thing right here. He's gone through a lot of stuff, and I'm sure he'll tell you about some of it. A lot of students I know may have given up halfway through. He missed a chunk of time at the beginning of this year too, but you know, he didn't allow any of that to stop him. He's got a 3.7 GPA. He's going to be one of our leaders, both emotionally and in terms of scoring on the track team this year. His grades are looking good. He's going off to college soon, so I'm gonna let him talk about himself a little bit. He's a good guy.
Hello, everybody. How's everyone's day going? All right. I'm a little nervous, so bear with me. My name is Jacinto Sepulveda, senior at San Jacinto High School. AP classes, I'm in track and field. I do the 300 and 110 hurdles race. I would just like to start off to thank all the sponsors for having me here today and putting on this whole entire event. I really appreciate it. It means a lot to me, because I went through these 4 years, and in high school it's a little different than middle school. Every month you get like you get a certificate, for every, class and thing like that. But for this, to be picked out of so many students out of the whole entire high school, I think it means a lot. So thank you a lot, Mr. Smith. So I guess, I'm sorry, I'm not even gonna look at this. I'm sorry. As Mr. Quintero said, I did go through a lot. These past years, I feel like I went through a lot that a lot of people probably would have given up on. Growing up, it's been always difficult for me because I am a member of the LGBT community, and I've always experienced difficulties when it comes to that. Growing up, I didn't have many friends. In fact, I didn't really get any of my friends until high school. So I grew up alone as an only child, and I was always mistreated, going to school for 12 years, and then 9 of those basically being you're getting talked about, you're being harassed both physically, emotionally, rumors being started, being spit on in public, beaten, all of that by your own peers, and you think there's got to be an escape, But then I came home, and it was exactly the same thing. I didn't have the most supportive parents. In fact, I only had one parent, and that was my mother. But when I came out to her when I was 12, she actually kicked me out of my house. I ended up moving to my father's in Fresno, where I also was kicked out when I came out to him. I ended up returning, and I told her, you know what? I don't need your support, but I do need you to take care of me. I need to go to school. I need to do all of that. Because I always knew that the only way I could get out was through my education. I have to go to a good school. I have to get good grades. I have to use this to my advantage, because that's the only way I'm going to be able to escape on my own. About when I was 9 years old, my mother met this man, and he ended up becoming my stepfather. He also was kind of pretty homophobic. So he was a little upset at the fact that, 1, I wasn't his son, and 2, I was gay. So for about 7 years, I was physically abused by him. I didn't really talk about it that much, because I was embarrassed. I wasn't even proud of being a homosexual myself. But as years went by, I did a lot of physical growth and a lot of emotional growth, and I realized I wasn't going to tolerate that disrespect. So earlier this year, he put his hands on me, and I decided to press charges and finally speak out. It was pretty difficult, because it was like I was going to school, dealing with court cases, still trying to make time for practice with cross country and track, and trying to stay on top of my grades. At the end of it, they basically let him go. There was nothing really different, but I had to take that role as the father because he was no longer allowed to live with us. So we were only down to one car. No one else was able to support my siblings or my mother or any of that. So I ended up having to find myself a job. I work at Little Caesars, so if you guys see me over there, I could get you a discount. No, but it was difficult. It really was, because I was waking up at 4 o'clock in the morning every day with one vehicle, taking my brother to Moreno Valley just to drop him off at his grandmother's. And then I would go to Paris to drop my cousin off at work. And then I would go to Menifee to drop off my sister at her academy with my mother, who works there. And then after that, I would have to turn around back to go to San Jacinto, and then I would have to go to school. I would do all my work. Then right after I get out of school, I'd have to go pick them up, and then try to somewhere fit, my education in there, get my homework done. And if you guys know, like, AP is a lot of work. Like, it's a little too much sometimes. But I knew that no matter what I go through, I can't let that defeat me. There's always been times where like I've doubted myself, and there's been a lot of self-doubt. But I persevere. No matter what it is, I'm not gonna let that be, the cause of me like spiraling downward. I don't see anything like any outside factors as my downfall other than me giving up on myself. And I'm like you said, I'm planning to go to the medical field. Hopefully, I get into a really good college. I'm hoping UCLA. But we'll see how that goes. I got like a month left to figure that out. I plan on staying in Riverside County as a pediatrician because right now our county really needs a lot of physicians. We're in desperate need of that. And I would like to give back to my community as much as possible because everyone has been so kind to me, honestly, especially with like, the schools and the community service that I've done, even at Ramona Humane Society and things like that. Like, everyone's just been so kind to me. Even though like my peers and my family may have not been the best for me, I've always found people who are willing to make me feel like I'm whole, content. And I can't thank, you guys enough. Just as being a part of my community and being here to support me, it really makes me feel at ease. Again, I would like to thank the sponsors. I would like to thank everyone coming here today. I would like to congratulate everyone who's, also been, nominated and is here today. Thank you, and congratulations on your hard work.
Thank you very much, Jesse, and your story. I'd like to introduce Eric Dahlstrom and Hockwitz High School.
Good morning, everyone. Again, I want to thank all our sponsors, the dignitaries, for supporting this. This is a huge reminder every month how important our role is as educators and to never give up on students regardless of the situation. So thank you to those students who continue to remind us what we're doing in our job, why our jobs are important. So thank you for that. Elijah is actually from last month, but he got that wonderful flu bug and wasn't able to come. So I've learned a lot about him. We rode together this morning, and one of the things I connect with him is I think of Rocky Balboa, the Rocky movies. He always was having things thrown at him, and no matter what happened, he was going to win in the end of the day. And that's Elijah for you. He has been through so much, and he continues to strive, he continues to get his education, and he has plans for the future. Mrs. Robles is the one who nominated him. I'm going to let her speak for a minute here.
Good morning. Thank you all for being here. I spoke last month, and I talked a lot about Elijah. He's just an amazing kid, and he's the one that you want to see and hear from, so here's Elijah.
Hello, my name is Elijah Sosa Cantu, and I'd like to thank Ms. Robles and Mr. Dahlstrom. This is my first time being up here, so and coming from my background, I originally was born in Las Vegas, and then we moved a lot because my dad was in the Navy, so we got to have the advantage of going to places. The last place I was from was from San Antonio, Texas, and the reason why I moved to Hemet is because I showed my dad this game, Toontown, and then he met this girl, and then he moved over here so he could meet her. And then that's where it kind of went downhill because I didn't have a really good vibe about her. And she kept on blaming me for the things that went missing in the house. So eventually my dad kept on thinking it was me. And I started getting more in trouble, and then her son and daughters kept on blaming me, and they kept on doing stuff on purpose so I could get in trouble. So that's when she put me in a tent, and I had to live there for at least 3 years in the backyard. And I started giving up, and I just thought, what's the use? So I started doing bad things, hanging out with the wrong people, until I broke into a place and got in trouble. I went to juvenile hall, and I had to pay a lot of charges still. I'm still working on that. And I went to a foster home group home placement in Fresno. And right at that place, they taught you structure and how you can get along with people you don't get along with. So I should say I forgive my stepmother. I don't mind that she did all this stuff to me. It happened. Just don't let it get on me, I should say. And yeah, my probation is really happy that I'm doing this. I should get off sooner or later. And yeah, I'd like to thank the sponsors for coming here. So yeah.
Thank you, Elijah. I'm going to introduce myself, and we're going to have Maya come back up. So I actually made an executive decision, and I nominated Maya this month. And when I asked her what teacher she'd want to represent her, she picked Mrs. Ramsey here. So we'll hear from Mrs. Ramsey real quick. But I've known Maya since she was a 6th grader at Dartmouth Middle School, and I don't even see her really as a student anymore. I consider her like a friend. It's kind of a weird thing to say as a principal, but she has the purest heart. She is the most passionate person that I know, and if I had a daughter, I would want my daughter to be like her. She is so inspirational to me. I love her to death. Her mother is also, I would consider a friend, wonderful woman, always been supportive of me and always has my back. So I'm proud that Maya is here, and we're going to hear from her. She gave her speech to me, a football player, and this other young lady who I consider tough people. When she was done, we're all sitting there looking at each other with the water in our eyes. And then I made a joke so we could get out of there so they didn't see me cry. So, Mrs. Ramsey, come on up.
I hope you don't mind that I'm going to read my statement about Maya because I don't want to leave anything out, and I also don't want to keep you here forever because I could sing her praises for a really long time. So I met Maya this year in the Plus Peer Leadership class. She had been in the class before, and I was new to teaching it. I realized immediately that she was someone I could count on to guide other students in the class and on our campus. Maya is one of the most authentic students, if not people, that I have ever known. She's witty and full of ideas, someone who will speak her mind and be open and honest with others around her about her life experiences, which have not always been easy. While she is very self-aware, I sometimes wonder if Maya knows just how much of an important impact she has on campus. When I asked the peer leaders in our class to tell me about their leadership goals, an overwhelming number of them said they wanted to lead like Maya, something I may not have told her until today. In her senior year, a time when she could coast along to graduation, she maintains a strong contribution to our Plus program, as well as engaging even more students in a new organization, the Black Student Union. Maya's future plans are still in progress, but I foresee an amazing impact on the community, and I am very proud to know her.
Good morning, everybody. As you previously heard, I am Maya Fleming, and this is my wonderful mommy, and this is my Aunt Wanda, and I'm a senior at Talkwitz High School. I love Mr. Dostrom to death as well. Adversity, a noun meaning difficulties or misfortune. I don't remember when I started losing my hair, but I remember the first time I got a question as to why I had bald spots in the back of my head. 7-year-olds don't ever really know when to quit. I remember trying to hold back tears because I couldn't tell the kids that my daddy had left us again, or that my mama didn't think I did, but I seen her skipping meals and begging God to send help because that was the only way out. I don't remember the first time I felt smart, but I remember the smile on my mama's face despite all we were going through when her baby brought home all O's on her 2nd grade report card. I remember feeling so proud that she was proud of me and that even if only for a moment, I had took some weight off of her shoulders. I don't remember my first day at Dartmouth, but I do remember it being a bittersweet moment because the lifestyle had finally caught up to my best friend and he laid fighting for his second chance he probably didn't deserve, but that my mama fought and prayed so hard for. I also remember her sitting on campus for half the school day because she made it her job to meet all the staff and see who was going to be responsible for her baby and who's still responsible for her baby. I remember my daddy getting better and finding his way home just to leave again after already being gone for so long. I remember making straight A's all 3 years of middle school and my friends hating me for it because I always made sure they knew my grades were better. I don't remember my first day at Talkwitz, but I imagine myself scared. I remember finding my place on the campus as time went by, making friends, building bonds, and maintaining those grades that made my mama smile. I remember January 5th, the day my daddy's second chance ran out. I remember feeling devastated, but moving on quick because Daddy had taught me how to love him from a distance. I don't quite remember the day I found myself, but I remember the honor rolls, the 3.0s, the inspirational awards, the government class presidents, the Black Student Union presidents, the homecoming courts, the church outreaches, student of the months, plus leading, and my mama's proud smile. I remembered I was more than a bald spot, a homeless shelter, my grandmother's floor, the pain of not remembering my daddy's voice. I was greatness, I am greatness, and I walk in prosperity. How I began the race is not important, but the way I finished the line is what makes me, me.
My daughter had asked me, she said, "Mom, don't speak long." And she knows I'm a speaker. As a mom, I am so proud of my daughter. My daughter lost her father in 2016. And the greatest thing for me is having her still. She gives me so much joy. And I want you to know, Maya, that I think the world of you. And I tell you, baby, you press on and you continue to press on. Because I always taught you that through God, you can do all things and all things are possible to you. So I want you to know today and every day, I am honored to be your mother. And I am so greatly, greatly proud of you. And I love you, Mr. Dostrom, so much. I appreciate you from the first day I met you. And you continue to be that mighty man that you are because I see so many great things in you. And I thank you for recognizing my daughter. And I thank everyone that's here today, all the children that came up before my daughter. I love you guys, and I just pray that you guys press on and push on. I noticed that some of you guys, your parents didn't come, but I support you, and I commend you today. So continue to walk in the path that God has placed over each and every one of your lives, and you will do great things.
All right, West Valley High School and Dr. Janice Jones.
Well, good morning, and I don't know, this Student of the Month is pretty amazing today. Maria is our student for West Valley, but before I introduce her, I just was sitting there and I had to tell the kids that came up today and their parents, every time we as principals or we as teachers or we as superintendents sit out there, we learn something about life from you guys. And I feel like I've taken so many nuggets about trying and adversity, and I'm just speechless, actually, from what I've heard today. So thank you sponsors for having us here today. And I am so proud of this young lady. Maria is our Student of the Month this month, and she also has her story to tell, and I don't want to take her time away. But one thing I appreciate about her is that every single time she sees anybody on campus, she smiles at them, she says hello, she mentions them by name. Her ability to connect with people is truly inspirational. And I can't think of a better person to represent West Valley High School this month. So congratulations, Maria. I'm going to have Mr. Dawson talk about her for a little bit.
Morning. I'm Kirk Dawson. I'm her AP Literature teacher. And then, so I can focus myself because I don't write out notes, I'm going to focus the theme of grit. So every year when they say you need to nominate somebody, we generally try to do somebody who's challenging themselves at a high level. And so I go through the list, and then I narrowed it down to 3 people, and then I really picked Maria because of her sense of grittiness and some of the qualities that she has. So how do they show themselves? Well, I almost don't have to grade her papers because like as soon as I look at it, I go, oh yeah. It's almost, actually I thank her for that because it's less work for me. I can just slap an A on it. So that sounds horrible, but it's almost like whatever it is I ask her to do, she gives her best. And then the second quality, and I consider it a part of grittiness, is she's like non-assuming about it. Like she just assumes that everybody else should be that way. And in preparation for this, I asked her questions, and then she said, oh, it's just what you're supposed to do. I don't get it while everybody else doesn't always give their best and 100%. And the last part of it is she's quite intelligent, but I'm not saying she has low self-esteem, but she described herself as not an automatic learner. And I wanted to say, honey, most of us aren't, but I didn't say that, and so then she told me so that she can be excellent, that she puts whatever time is required so she can attain that level. And so then, I'll just put it up to you this way, just because she really had spoken like 100 words to me the entire year, so she didn't know that I was watching and that I was paying attention, and so when Mrs. Jones told her that she was the student month, I think she was shocked because, like I said, we'd had like 100 words in the entire school year, but she didn't know that I was watching and paying attention. And then she came and talked to me, and she had this beaming smile, and I would do that 1,000 times over just for the pleasure of seeing that. So I'll let Maria tell her story.
Hi everyone, my name is Maria Quesada, or Quesadilla, whichever works. When Dr. Jones first called me up, I was shocked. I was like, wait, I got Student of the Month? She's like, yeah. And I was like, cool. And then she's like, guess who? And I was like, who? She's like, Mr. Dawson. No way. She's like, yeah way. So honestly, like he said, we barely even spoke within the semester. I didn't think that he would notice my hard work. I've always been that student who just goes into the class, does their work, and moves on. I've never thought of myself as someone who's remarkable. And to have him validate my work means the world to me because I've never had that before. I've always just done what I needed to get done because I wanted a better future for myself, because I'm a first-generation American. My mom and my dad and my brother weren't born here. And I hate that we live in a world where they're not accepted like I am. And I want to work hard for them. I want to make a future so they don't have to suffer, so they don't have to deal with the insults and being told that they should go back to their country, that they're not wanted here, that they should just deal with the life they have over there. And no one deserves that. Everyone deserves a better life. And that's why I want to major in psychology, so I can be some kind of, psychologist, therapist, I don't know, someone who can be out there and help people who are going through what I'm going through, because when I was little, I'd have to do what kids told me. Your parents don't belong here. Why are you even here? You should be in Mexico, because this is not your country. And this is my country. This is their country. And that's why I work so hard. And I want to thank Mr. Dawson and Dr. Jones, because honestly, this does mean the absolute world today. And on a happier note, last night I got home from rehearsals for Anything Goes, the musical at my school. If you want to go watch it, March 23rd. And I got a letter from Cal State San Bernardino, and it said I'd been accepted. And just to have that validation after so many years of being an Avid, for 5 years being in Plus, for 5 years being the president of Plus this year, I've never had anyone tell me, you know, good job, you're doing good out there. Because I've just thought that's what we're supposed to do. So thank you so much. Thank you to all the sponsors. Thank you to the Hemet Unified School District, because I've been here all my life. I was born and raised in Hemet. So yeah, thank you so much. Sorry for crying so much. I'm an emotional person. So yes, thank you so much.
Okay, Mom said it's a little hard for her to speak, but we thank you. And thank you, Maria, thank you, everyone, and we are the last ones, so, okay, all right.
I'm not crying, there's something in my eye and I'm stuffed up. So thank you, students, so much. Of all the Student of the Month, may you please stand. I have to tell you, your perseverance is amazing, because adults would complain and not be able to go through what you guys have gone through. And I wish I could tell you that it gets easier, you will not have to face adversity after all you've been through already, but I can't say that. But I'll tell you this, I too, growing up, faced adversity, and it made me stronger. So now I face adversity, and I face it, and I look at it as a challenge, and I think, okay, let's do this. Let me roll up my sleeves, and let's get over this. So I think all of you guys have that attitude. You guys have proved it already. And just know what you've gone through now is just gonna make you a stronger, better person, more equipped to help others. And share your story, because we don't know the faces out at your school. We see people and they laugh and smile. We don't know what they're going through. And by sharing your story and telling them, you know, this happened to me, but I overcame it and it's okay, it empowers them to overcome it, because not everyone's as strong as you guys. So thank you again for sharing your story. You guys are amazing. Thank you.